Most fans won't know much about Methaile, but what if I told you Sunderland have done it again? They've gone into the French market and they've signed one of the best up-and-coming left-backs in world football. Now, a lot of people that have watched him play have come to the conclusion that he's very similar in a way to Nuno Mendes. And that's not from a technical standpoint, that's from a physical and athleticism standpoint, because Methaile is an absolute athletic demon. Let me give you some context in terms of his athletic power, in terms of his running. Van der Ven is one of the fastest players we've seen in the Premier League over recent years. Last season, Van der Ven clocked a top speed of 36.2 kilometers. That's the exact same as Methaile last year. And listen, Methaile is not 5'9", where you might expect him to be crazy agile, crazy quick. He's 6'2". He's an absolute unit of a left back. Now, making videos like this takes a lot of time because I spend a lot of time analysing the players, especially on Wisecout. And when I was looking deeper into it, one thing I realised, when he was playing under 19 football, academy football, he can also play left centre back. And some of his performances at left centre back have been very, very good. For example, for France's under 19 side, he actually played left centre back against England and impressed massively, which will be very, very useful for Sunderland because we've seen at times last season they can switch from a back three to a back four. Left centre back in a back three, I believe Methaile can do. Wing back, he can do. Left back in a back four, he can do. He gives Sunderland some very, very nice options heading into this season. Now, one thing Sunderland fans will realise straight away is that Methaile is an extremely good ball carrier. When there's space in front of him, he will drive into it. And you guys can see this graphic on the screen here. This looks at where he advanced the ball and created for it. And to be honest, his carry numbers are exactly what I expected. But his passing numbers actually did surprise me because when I watch him, on the eye test, that's one thing I believe he can improve on. When an opponent's block is a bit more settled, can he be just slightly more comfortable in possession in terms of playing those passes? Potentially. But listen, guys, let me just emphasize how good his carry numbers are. This graphic on the screen here looks at carries to the final third for fullbacks under the ages of 23 last year in Ligue 1. He's fifth on that list. And to be honest, that is very, very impressive considering Nuno Mendes, who's probably one of the best left backs the world's ever seen, is his competition really. Obviously, Warren Zaire-Emery played a lot of fullbacks, so he's in this graphic as well. But one category that he does come in top in is deep carries. He's actually number one last year in Ligue 1 for fullbacks under the ages of 23 that have played more than 900 minutes. Sunderland are getting an extremely good ball carrier, which will help them massively. Now, one thing people will realise very, very quickly about Methaile is if the ball's in the channel and he's defending, it is very, very difficult to actually beat him because of his athletic and running power. You guys can see the numbers on the screen here, which looks at his defensive work in the flank, in the channels, and his numbers are extremely, extremely impressive. Look at flank tackles, look at flank interceptions. Some of his numbers are up there with some of the best fullbacks in Europe when it comes to these sort of categories, which is why Sunderland are not only getting an absolute gem going forward, from a defensive point of view, we know he has a lot of traits to work with and develop over the coming years. Now, one of the reasons I really like this move, not from a Sunderland point of view, but from a Methaile point of view, is he's going to be coming into Sunderland, coming into England, and he's not going to be expected to start week in, week out. And he's still going to be managing to get enough games. Sunderland are in Europe, which will obviously help him settling down, because he's still very, very raw. Like I said before, this has only been his first season playing men's football properly in Ligue 1, and to be honest, Ligue 1 is a very, very physical league, so I do expect him to do well in that aspect in the Premier League. But like I said, he needs time to develop. Methaile has all the traits, all the ability to eventually become a £50 million left back in the future, and in my eyes, he should be targeting the next World Cup in terms of potentially being France's starting left back. Now, let's actually see how Methaile's numbers compare to Ronaldo of last season for Sunderland, and you guys can see the graphics on the screen here. When we're looking at interceptions, aerial duels, recoveries, the current Sunderland man comes on top. But that's something you would expect. The more experienced man, someone that's been at big clubs, the likes of Lille, the likes of Atletico Madrid, obviously at Sunderland now, he probably has that bit more defensive experience in terms of these certain situations. But that's really, really going to benefit someone like Methaile coming through. Someone so raw, having someone so good and experienced at the top level to learn from. But that's not to say Methaile can't hold his own against Ronaldo right now. For example, when we're looking at the passing metrics, the more attacking metrics, Methaile comes on top in a lot of categories. For example, through passes, crosses, assists, expected assists, passes to the penalty area. all favour the Frenchman. Now to conclude, I'm very hopeful about this signing. Sunderland are clearly getting a top prospect. Some of the recruitment team, the data team, the scouts would have been watching for many years, not just last season when he broke through at Toulouse. Let's see how he does. They have a French manager. They're going to have a French left back. Hopefully he develops at a very good rate. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think on this signing.